So, Ryuhei, thank you so much for joining us at Infamous Horrors today. I've been such a fan of yours since I first saw the Midnight Meat Train on the big screen when it came here to the second run theaters, and that was just a mind-blowing experience at the time. So,
Thank you.
How did you get involved in The Price We Pay? Because your directing skills, the way you get the gore so on screen is so versatile and it's so captivating. How did you come up with that directing skill, as well as what got you interested in The Price We Pay?
Well, this started with me and this super talented young writer in UK, Chris Jolly, who wrote the script. So it was we started working on the idea like 2 years ago when, entire world was locked down and I had nothing to do. And of course, as everybody else, a lot of project was on hold. So, instead of, complaining and depressing, we just started to, trading ideas. And one day Chris came up with this concept, and I don't know, it's because I did another movie in Japan last year, which is it's unlike my other movie. It's like very heartwarming fantasy drama, which I'm very proud of. And the movie I did before was The Doorman, which is more like a straight, forward action. So during the lockdown, I felt like, I just want to go back to my roots and do something crazy. So, like kind of like 90s vibe.
Right, yeah.
Like Gore, slasher, like just a fun, roller coaster ride movie. And me and Chris started trading ideas, and he came up with this concept of this, crazy doctor who has the reason why he's doing this, all the murder and, basically taking out organs, not from the good people, most of the time,
right.
From the bad people. And I kind of, really like that kind of, way of thinking. And because a lot of people, bad people, making a lot of money while a lot of, good people who dies young, right? So I was like, yeah, I mean, I kind of, sympathize to this character of this grandfather doctor. So, that's when we really started working on the script, and, a few months later we had the script. And again, still, it was like, the world was still, in the middle of lockdown. So I was originally thinking like maybe do this kind of like what I did on Downrange, which is more like an independent movie, style with my friends, Then one day, one of the producers sent the script to Emile Hirsch, and I was surprised, but he was a huge fan of me. He's a huge fan of horror movies, and he said he wants to do it. So like, wow, we were just thinking about doing this, small indie movie, but wow, now Emile Hirsch is in, okay. And what's even more great was Emile made a phone call to his friend, who was Stephen Dorff. So I was with my friend in, Japantown in LA, and I just ordered the miso ramen. Then I got a call from unknown number. So I said, "Who's this?" And it was Stephen Dorff. And he said, I read the script, I like it. And then Emile says, "Oh, the great thing about you. So what are you thinking? What do you want to do?" So we chat for like, 10, 15 minutes. Then he said, "I love everything you say. I'm in." So like suddenly I had Emile Hirsch and Stephen Dorff. So how can I not do it, right?
Right, and that has to be really gratifying to know that Emile is such a huge fan of your work, knowing that he's been in the business a very long time. I've known him, well, I don't know him, but I've seen his work since The Girl Next Door, when he was just a teenage kid, and now he's playing all these father roles and stuff like this, so it's kind of almost like a 180 with the roles that he's doing now from what I'm used to him doing. So how was it like getting Emile on board along with Stephen Dorff? That had to be exhilarating too for you as a director, having those two on board.
Yeah, it was super exciting. And, but the thing was, I had this another, obligation to do this in a movie in Japan. So this slot was very, very thin. I don't know how I did it, but I basically had 5 days to prep this movie. 5 days. That's like insane. 5 days to prep, 15 days to shoot. That's it. Then I had to fly to Japan because my entire crew, and my Japanese movie was a bigger movie, so they were waiting for me. But I talked to the producer in Japan and said, I have to do this. Come on, we have Emile Hirsch, we have Stephen Dorff, I have to do this. So just wait, give me 3 weeks. And that's all they gave me. So, but it was now or never situation, because the movie making, yes, the shooting and everything is hard enough, but setting up the movie is the hardest part,
Right.
So we got lucky, we got 2 stars, and we've, magically got money like within like a few weeks. So if we missed that spot, last year, I had no idea when we can, it was like 2 years ago, I could do it again. So, I mean, we know it's going to be like insane, 20 days, 5 days prep and 15 days to shoot. It's like insane. That's shorter than downrange, so like, how do we going to do it? But, I'm from Japanese indie style guerrilla movie making. So I was like, okay, I'll get into trench and, it's going to be fine. So
right.
we did it, but
how does this film go along with your other experiences? Back to Versus. Then, of course, you adapted, or you worked on an adaptation of a Clive Barker story called The Midnight Meat Train. So how does this go along with your other experiences? Like you said, you only had 20 days to shoot this film. So how did that all kind of compare to your other works as well as a filmmaker?
I mean, every time I make movie, I mean, never, once was easy shooting. Every time, doesn't matter how, where you do it or how much budget you have. Movie making, on the set, like 300 problems happens every day, right? So all my experience, because Versus, I was nobody, and only thing I had was a bunch of amateur and street fighters, and I had the Super 16 silent camera, no AD, no line producer, no sound, no lighting, nothing, just me, camera, and my crazy, crew and the cast. Basically, we were all amateur, and I ended up shot 4,600 setup. It was crazy, Then when I was working on Midnight Meat Train, that was my first American movie. And it wasn't an easy movie to make, for the first American movie, because I had to deal with other stuff, because I just moved from Japan. So I was dealing with, all other stuff, and somehow find a way to adjust to this Hollywood system. So, every time I make a movie, I think I'm learning something, and that experience is my strongest weapon. So I knew that it was challenging, but I knew that I could do it. And luckily I had my amazing crew and cast. So yeah. Especially Emile. I mean, he's like me, unlike other Hollywood stars. Even in the weekend, he texted me and said, hey, come stop by my hotel. Let's go over the script. And okay, I mean, if Emile wants to do it, I'm happy to do it. So I go to his hotel and we started sit together, and we try to even improve the script while we were shooting. And he was like extremely helpful. So, it was pure joy.
And what were some of the proudest moments, or, the most fond moments that you have from shooting The Price We Pay?
It was chaos. It was like total chaos, intense 15 days in this, summer of New Mexico. It was crazy. Nothing was really going well, but, we had this crazy energy to push through. So I really think that, especially the final 20 minutes of the movie, this entire climax scene has this like crazy, tension, which is not that easy to do, when you become professional. When you are like amateur, yes, only thing you have is passion, right? You don't have money, you don't have resources, and the only thing you have is passion. But when it comes to job, it's good for you. But when it comes to job and you have money and you have to work with all the professional, you have to work with the union, you have to work with all the rules, So sometimes it's hard to, just pure explode yourself. But when we were making this movie, it was like, we were like, what the fuck? We're just gonna do it. It's now or never. And I knew that I had to go to Japan within like, 2 weeks. So I had to do it no matter what. So I think that crazy chaotic energy was somehow captured for the final like 20, 30 minutes of the movie, which is, I'm very proud.
So what are your other future projects you have coming out, if you can discuss those really quick?
Of course, I can't really say much, but I'm already working on storyboarding my next movie. We're supposed to start shooting April, hopefully, and that's going to be something very different from what I've done. I always try to challenge myself. So it's going to be very different, but it's for fans like you. fans like me. It's very super fun, kind of horror movie, suspense thriller horror movie, which is very different from what I did before.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in Infamous Horrors. We've been such big fans of yours for a long time, so this has been really cool. And congratulations.